The Mansplaining Analogy of Manifestation. Dede, really? Are you going to go there? Seriously, that's where you're going to go? That's where you're going to be taking these analogies? Well, let me tell you something. By the time we are done this video today, you will be so happy that mansplaining exists, that you know what it is and how. It is going to blow your mind what it reveals for you of how the manifestation process works. Your mind, through trends, through catchphrases, through incidents, through experience, is always trying to wake you up where you are. In this video today, I am promoting myself from the queen of analogies to the goddess of analogies, because it is probably one of the most amazing ways that I can explain to you that the conscious mind chooses and the subconscious mind populates. And I'm going to share a really personal experience with you here, that by the end of it, when I say to you that when your mind has your focused attention and it knows that it can really deliver a message, it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, or who's involved, it will slam you. And once you have that, you can never go back asleep again. So this video is so powerful. Now, I will say this: if you're triggered by this term, you can turn off this video now. But if you stay with me and you give me a little bit of artistic license, a little bit of poetic justice, you'll see that I'm not talking about physical body males and physical body females. None of that stuff. We are going to be breaking down the law of gender, where we have the divine masculine energy, divine feminine energy, and how life has been showing you how they work in so many different ways. And now your eyes will be opened to see it. Welcome back to the Invincible CEO YouTube channel. This is the Wish Fulfilled Playground, where we just have so much fun here. And if this is your first time, we're so happy that you've joined us. Please take a moment to like this video, to subscribe to the channel, and make sure you share this video with all your manifestation friends, because here on this channel, we take you from mindset, the conscious mind, to manifestation, the subconscious mind. My name is Dede Powerniak, and I am the Invincible CEO. I truly am the last manifestation coach you will ever need, because this YouTube channel is nothing like the others. All I want to do is see you win big, and win all the time. And I will pull out every tool, every technique, every analogy there is for you to connect the dots, for you to have that light bulb go off, because you are this beautiful, powerful manifester, no matter what human body you're in right now. All right, my friends, buckle up. Here we go. Okay. So the mansplaining analogy of manifestation. So let's just take a moment, and if you don't know what mansplaining is, let's just take a moment. At least this is my interpretation of it, and how you see it played out in movies and TV, and maybe even real life. Maybe you've had it happen to you, and it's not just necessarily a man telling a woman something that's pretty obvious in the now moment, right? It's pretty obvious in the now moment. The man is explaining to a woman what's pretty obvious, or something maybe that only she would know, that he would have no idea of, because she's female and he's male. But this also could work female to female, and this also could work male to male. And of course, even with our non-binary friends, because old realities and old loops can kind of suck us back in. So in no way, shape, or form am I coming down hard on any specific gender or person for this video. Now, I have said so many times here that the conscious mind chooses and the subconscious mind populates. And if you've been here for a while, you probably can see where I'm going to go with this analogy. The conscious mind is the chooser, and the subconscious mind populates the reality. It fulfills. The subconscious mind is the fulfillment center. We've used Amazon examples. We've used ordering at a restaurant examples. But today, let me mansplain this to you, because it's so obvious that it's not until it is. Okay. So let's go into the law of gender. And what the law of gender, it's one of the 7 principles in the Kabbalion. And it is the law of gender. It talks about the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy, or just simply masculine energy. Kinetic energy, active, passive, potential, right? So we could say that the male energy is kinetic, it's action, it's moving, it's doing its thing. And the divine feminine is potential. It's kind of not doing a whole lot except receiving and allowing, right? And if we think of conception, there's a little bit of activity, a little transaction that goes on, where there's a very defined male role and a very defined female role in the conception of a new child, right? So when we have that beautiful intercourse and the male impregnates the female, so when I said the male energy impregnates the female, it's like the male energy chooses, right? Chooses to do this dance along with the female also chooses, knowing what the outcome will be. And once the male in this transaction does what he needs to do for conception to happen, for a child to develop, there's not a whole lot more the physical bodied male has to do. And the female, all she has to do is receive and then allow, meaning keeping herself in the focused awareness and attention that she is now pregnant, because there are different embodiments for a female who is not pregnant and one that is. And it takes time for the female to be aware of what's going on. There will be body changes. There might be nauseousness. There might be a little bit of irritability as the body's starting to switch over from a non-pregnant mode to a pregnant mode. And to the male can say, right, that there's nothing going on. Nothing has changed. How many times have you said that in manifestation where you've done an imaginal act, active or passive, because the male energy is active, the female's energy is passive. And think about it, it takes 9 months from the act to the wish fulfilled, to the subconscious mind, right? If we say the male energy is the conscious mind and the female energy is the subconscious mind, it takes 9 months for behind the scenes things happening that the male only has a little bit of idea that something's changing, the female a lot more, but nonetheless, it doesn't get pushed out for 9 months. I promise you, we'll get to the mansplaining in a moment. But I want you to see the analogy of conception of what's really going on, because even 3 months in, if the female doesn't know yet or she hasn't told her partner, he may not pick up on some subtle cues, and he might say that nothing has changed. But yet, oh, everything has changed. And this is why we don't use the outside world, the 3D world, to define who we are and what we have going on internally, because literally the female has internalized this new birth, this new life. And that's what you're doing when you are creating something new, whether it's a business, whether it's a partnership, whatever it is, or even a physical baby child. And you might say to me, well, yeah, Dede, we know that it takes 9 months from a certain point. Well, it just goes to show that every assumption, every transaction has its moment of fulfillment. And as long as there's no disagreement within the female, the 9 months will play out. So this is where you have to understand that it could be 7 months. In my case, it was always late. It was 9 months plus more. But you have to be aware there's rules of engagement and that it's going to take time and space, because we all want that baby to develop to the best that it can, that when it is pushed out, it has a healthy life. So trying to have a baby delivered at 5 months or 6 months, knowing that it's not fulfilled yet, would be ridiculous. And that's why I'm going to say to you, back off in trying to push and force your manifestations to happen. Going into the receiving mode is a whole different thing. So now let's get to mansplaining here. So if mansplaining is technically in pop culture a man telling something very obvious to a female, especially if it's more of a female oriented type of activity. So this is where I'm going to share my example of what happened to me. And when I tell you that this is probably one of the most powerful moments in my life, that is one that really stands out, because all of these that happened 5 times and all of these occurrences have really, I could just literally close my eyes and recreate what happened because I was so present. So this was the birth of my 4th daughter. I have 4 girls and then a son. And at this point, I know what I'm doing and I'm giving birth naturally. So when I say to you, no drugs, no IV, I'm giving birth naturally. And I think in the reality that I was in, I was a nightmare to the hospital that's used to incapacitating a female with an epidural because you can't get up and move around. Now, because I know the rules of engagement and I knew how this was going to go, I had a team with me to support me. I had my then husband at the time and my doula, right? That's all that was there, plus the doctor and the nurses. And I can't tell you how many times they came in during the course of my laboring saying, you sure you don't want the drugs? You sure you don't? And I'm like, no, 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 no. And my doula was there to support because we went over the rules of engagement. We went over the plan of action. And I've done this before, and I know what's involved. And when I tell you that breathing is so powerful that you could be in the throes of heaviest labor, and with your breathing, you can transcend pain. It's freaking unbelievable. But I was there to see what my body was capable of. I was there as a female about to give birth to see what my body knew to do intuitively without any direction from anyone at any given time. And I was there as the advocate for myself and the operant power, not only for me, but for my unborn child, to make sure that she had the most gentle, amazing, loving birth as possible as you're going through this process. And finally, the nurse came in and said, if now's the time, if you're not going to do it now, I'm like, listen, I know what I've chosen. And she goes, well, most women, I'm like, do not call me most women. I am not most women. Most women are most women. I'm Dede. I know who I am. I know what's about to go down. So whatever you guys got to do to prepare for it, I suggest that you do, because this is how it's going to go. Because I was walking around, I was moving around so that I could speed up the process naturally. This was all about the natural unfolding and fulfillment of the birth of my daughter. So as things got going and the contractions got more and more intense, as long as I was in my 0 point doing my breathing, it was very little discomfort that I felt in the now moment. But I understand, as we're about to birth something into reality, whether it is um, something physically from your body, a new business, a new partnership, it may feel like everything's going in the opposite way. And when I tell you time dilates and it seems like it's forever, especially when those contractions are coming, and you have to be so focused and aware of the timing to be on top of it so that you can have your breathing, because there's that resting period in between. It can be very mentally and physically, emotionally and energetically exhausting. So now a little backstory. My last daughter that I had naturally came in 3 pushes. And what's really amazing, if you've never given birth naturally, the second that you start pushing, the pain stops. So it encourages you to push, because you want to get out of that pain, you push, and she was out in 3 pushes. So much so they couldn't even get things broken apart fast enough for her. And it's just this amazing relief, because the moment the baby's out, the pain's gone. Pain's gone. Pain with a purpose. So now we're at the pushing stage. And the nurses were trying to tell me to get angry at my baby and push her out. And I'm going, let my body do what it has been designed to do, what it has been doing since the very first birth of any child anywhere. I've learned that as the operant power, when the system and the programming kicks in, I'm just along for the ride. I'm the observer. And when it feels right, when my body's speaking to me in the now moment, that's when I move and join in if there's an action needed. So now the nurses are there, my doula, my then husband is there, and the doctor's there. It's a male doctor. And I was with a practice, so we made sure that we got to meet all the doctors, and he was just as good as any of the other doctors there. And after I did my first push, now mind you, I don't have feet in stirrups. I'm doing it my way. So my feet are planted on top of the bed and I'm pushing down, and it kind of raised my pelvis up a little bit. Not that I had chosen to do that. It's just what happened as I began to push. It was the naturalness, the natural progression of it. And in that moment, and I'm in my zone and it's going, and I know I'm maybe 2 pushes away from a baby, possibly even less. And I hear the doctor say to me, pay attention, you're doing it wrong. And all I heard was my doula and my then husband go, oh no, no, he didn't. Oh, here we go. And right away I snap out, and now I'm really present. And I said to him, excuse me? He's like, you're pushing wrong. I said, and you would know because how many babies you've pushed out of your body? This is my 4th one. I know what I'm doing. Now, at this point, time stood still. The contractions, I don't remember having any contractions. It's like that moment where you're just like very matrixy. And he said, listen to me. I'm your doctor. I have delivered thousands of babies. I know what I'm talking about. You are pushing incorrectly. So if you would like this baby to be born in the next few minutes, listen to what I'm telling you. And I held eye contact with him because I could feel what was happening in my body as he was giving me this mansplaining lecture to how to give birth, even though I'm not going to disagree. He's a doctor. He has a lot of book knowledge and experience catching babies, but he doesn't have any experience pushing a baby out of his body. And I feel that pure experience always trumps supporting character experience, which that's what he's there to do, supporting character. I'm the star of the show. Remember my assumptions. I am the star of my show. So he says to me, I'll repeat again, he's like, if you would like this baby to be out in the next few minutes, listen to what I'm telling you. You're pushing wrong. This is how I want you to push. And I have total eye contact. I'm zeroed in. And I looked at him and I smiled because as he was mansplaining to me in half a push, I had pushed my daughter out. She was on the bed. And I said to him, you mean the baby that I just delivered? And he looked down. The nurses lost their minds. I could hear my then husband and my doula like, oh my God, because his direction of what was going to happen anyway, because whatever's happening is just happening in the now moment. It doesn't need you to narrate it. It doesn't need you to tell it what to do. What's happening is happening. He was mansplaining to me how to give birth, even though I've done it 3 times before, very, very successfully with no medication, totally, fully aware of what's going on in my body and the now moment, saying that if I didn't listen to him, I was going to make this a lot longer for myself and my baby, and he was concerned about her well-being. So, lovely story. And I'm forever thankful for him because he was there for a reason. But I will tell you this, my 5th child was not in a hospital with a doctor. That was the end of that. That was a decision I made that day, that even though we had decided on 4, if there was a 5th, it was going to be at a birth center or at home. So now, what's the moral of this story? That what's happening in the now moment is just happening, and it is the story, and it doesn't need a story. So once the conscious mind chooses, you made a choice, and then you allow for the subconscious mind to do its thing naturally to populate. I was literally populating my wish fulfilled with another human being. That there's no story as to why it's not happening, how it's going to happen. You have no clue. You could activate choices. And it may be one of those because occasionally you do get them, but it could be in a total different way. So as he was trying to use his experience, which was valid, his education, which was valid, that can never override what's happening in the now, happening naturally as you are a cooperative component to the flow. So I'm so very thankful for the concept and the term mansplaining because that's what the conscious mind does. If your conscious mind is telling a story, you've made a choice, and then it wants to narrate a story, it's unnecessary. It's mansplaining manifestation. The conscious mind does not manifest. The conscious mind chooses. The subconscious mind manifests, populates, offers fulfillment of what was chosen. So now, my friends, thank you for the artistic license. Thank you for allowing me to share my story. Again, I have nothing but beautiful thankfulness for all energy, male, female, and everywhere in between, for human physical males, human physical females, and all of our wonderful non-binary friends. This isn't about the people. This is about the expression of energy and how manifestation works. So now I want you to tell me how thankful you are that you understand the concept of mansplaining. We can call it guy-splaining. We can call it partner-splaining, whatever splaining you want it to be, but there's never any splaining needed once the conscious mind chooses, and that's its job. Do not allow it to be the narrator. Do not allow it to be the splainer. And then when it's not doing anything, whoever needs to be moved will be moved, even if you're pushing it out of your physical body. All right, my friends, I am so thankful you are here. It is not ever too late because time doesn't exist to join our 30-day, $1,000 per day July manifestation challenge. All the videos are recorded. Your day one is your day one. And after 30 days, you have placed an order for $30,000. So if you have not yet joined us, go into the description box below and you will see the link to join the group and join the challenge. And there's so much more in that group beyond the challenge. So much wonderful information if you're enjoying what we're doing here. And I can't say this enough because we're 10 days away from the deadline cutoff. I am having a 2-day dream interpretation event that is limited to 20 participants. And if you're enjoying these videos, just imagine getting to work with me one-on-one as I guide you and walk you through the interpretation of one of your dreams. And don't worry if you can't remember your dreams because I help you do that prior to going into the 2-day event. It is on July 20th and 21st. I highly recommend that you join us. And there is a fee for this. There is a small fee to join the group, but I immediately reinvest it back into you, so it's like you get a free event and credit towards digital product, one-on-one session, or even some of our bigger programs. I am having so much fun. We have a group program going now. I'm working with a lot of you one-on-one in one-off sessions. And I'm also working with you in the bigger one-on-one personalized attention program. Give me 3 months and you will not even recognize yourself or your life because how amazing can you handle it? You want that wish fulfilled? Do you need me? Absolutely not. But there's something about the level of experience that I can bring you to your experience. I will never tell you what you should be experiencing. I will be sharing what I have experienced, but ultimately, it's your choice. It's your choice. And that's all I'm ever here to do is help you make empowered, focused, conscious choices in the now moment. All right, guys, like, subscribe, share this video with everyone. Let me know how excited you are that mansplaining exists because now you know if your conscious mind is telling a story about what you've chosen, it's now mansplaining and it is totally, 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 totally unnecessary. Thank you so much. Enjoy, and we will be back again for another video. Until then, check some of the videos that have been chosen just for you.